RIN TV coverage of the 2015 Joint Industry Forum is brought to you by PCS, a unit of Verisk Analytics. There have been a lot of changes in the underwriting discipline over the past few years. Recently, we spoke with Pete Miller, President and CEO of the Institutes, about the impact of technology, data, and other issues in the underwriting profession. He is optimistic, and for good reason.
You know, it's interesting, really, the top three factors affecting the role of underwriting these days, I think, are all around technology. And really, it comes down to how they use technology, how it's used in their everyday lives, how technology and new risks are emerging around technology. And then actually, there's also a risk, I think, of relying too much on technology. So the first, you can imagine, the use of technology is obviously grown quite a bit, and that's a big change in the industry, and I think that change obviously is going to continue. Then we look at new risks, cyber risk. We've heard about Sony and Home Depot and Target and all those, so that's really changing an underwriter's life. They have to understand that risk and be able to price that risk. And then third, we can't lose, we can't lose track of humans in this equation. This is a relationship business, and although technology is growing rapidly and being adopted more, I believe still the human element in being able to relate to people and making them feel at ease is still an important thing. So I think underwriters really need to cope with those three things now and into the future. Yeah, well, technology obviously has impacted society enormously as a whole, and particularly for underwriters. So underwriters now have a lot more information, and technology has provided large parts of that. So telematics, data analytics, all sorts of other data collection techniques have really provided underwriters with more information. I think secondly, workflows. So it's much easier now for underwriters to work more closely with claims and with other parts of an insurance organization because the technology enables that. So I think that's also another way that we're going to see continue into the future. And then technologies around data collection, as I said before, but also there's the concept of the Internet of Things. So there's billions of devices now attached to the internet, so you can actually monitor risk in real time. And I think technology has made a huge difference, and that in particular, I think is going to continue, particularly that Internet of Things. That's a big concept, along with data analytics. But the Internet of Things, the data collection of that, and the sheer amount of data, I think, is going to have an enormous impact on underwriters. Other skills that underwriters need to possess are going to include the ability to sift through all that data. So huge amounts of data being collected, well, what does it mean? And you have to turn data into information. And I think the ability to think critically and to understand sort of the analytics and the mechanics of turning that data into information, I think, is going to be really crucial. So simple things like multivariate analysis, other forms of rudimentary statistics. I think when people look at models, they're going to have to be able to understand how was that model constructed. And then I think, again, interpersonal skills. The machine can do a lot of things, but they can't have a relationship. And I think this, again, especially in commercial lines, is still a relationship business. And being able to communicate ideas, communicate what we're covering, communicate rate changes, being able to justify rates to customers and to claims people, and et cetera, I think are going to be key skills for underwriters going forward. You know, I think certification is important to insurers in the industry as a whole for two basic reasons. One is knowledge and the other is credibility. So, surprisingly, not a lot of people start out in life to be in an insurance industry, but that requires that they take some time and acquire some knowledge about the industry. And I think certification is an objective measure of saying, well, you have a certain knowledge level, you've taken the time, had the dedication to make sure that you're up to speed in an industry that's changing rapidly. So I think on the knowledge side, this industry changes. Certification talks about your and individuals' desire to stay up with the industry. And then credibility. I think, again, it's a third party saying, my employer and I have agreed that we're going to use this tool to make my presence credible. And by doing that, it lends credibility to the organization and to the individual. So I really think that certification is an important tool. If you look at other industries or other professions, be it accountants or lawyers or the medical profession. It's a well-known and established principle that certification is sort of the stamp of approval that you've taken the time and you know, to learn an industry so that you can help others, and that really sort of puts a stamp on it. Boy, when I think of opportunities in insurance, I see opportunities everywhere. So there's some sheer numbers. The Bureau of Labor Statistics says there'll be about 33,000 openings for underwriters but in 2020 through 2020. So there's a good volume of opportunities. But also, you know, the industry sort of follows society. So if you think about opportunities, there's some segments of the industry or of the society that are growing. Energy being one, healthcare, transportation. So I think there's a lot of opportunities in those areas for people that are interested in underwriting those kind of things. I also think that one of the things we're trying to do at the Institutes is make people aware of that. So we have a MyPath initiative that helps young people understand the areas where the industry is growing and what opportunities are there, in particular for underwriters. When I think about college students today and opportunities in insurance, I have 5 kids who were in college last year. So on a personal level, this is a very important thing to me. And I tell them this is an exciting industry. It really is. You have to, all the things that young people want in a job, be it involved in their community, critical thinking, an opportunity to advance, a career that helps people. Those are all things when we do research on millennials that millennials want, and they tie perfectly to this industry. So for a young person, I'd say, this is a great opportunity to get in an industry that helps people, that's dynamic, that's global, that's large, and that actually, because of the age demographic of the industry, needs a lot of young people in the next few years. What a great opportunity. So I'm very enthusiastic, and I do have the opportunity to talk to a lot of young people at colleges and universities, and it's just a great message to be able to convey.
For more of our coverage of the 2015 Joint Industry Forum, visit the RIN TV On Demand Library.